The day my husband filed for divorce, I was bald, puking into a hospital basin, and still trying to smile for the nurse who'd just hung my third round of chemo. 25 years old, stage 3 breast cancer, and the man who'd promised in sickness and in health sat across from me in a rumpled suit he'd bought for our wedding 2 years earlier. He didn't look at me, just slid the papers across the rolling tray table like they were takeout menus. "I can't do this anymore, Lena," he said, voice flat. "The bills, the hospital smell, watching you fade. I need to live my life. Life is life." As if mine had stopped counting. He'd already cleaned out our joint accounts. The savings we'd built flipping thrift store furniture on weekends? Gone. The down payment we'd scraped together for a house? Transferred to his new solo account. Even the car I'd paid for with my graphic design side hustle, titled in his name because it's easier for insurance. He took it all. Left me with medical debt, a rented studio apartment I couldn't afford on disability, and the kind of rage that tastes like metal in your mouth. I didn't cry in front of him. I waited until the door clicked shut, until the nurse came back to check my port, and then I sobbed so hard the alarms on my 4 pumps started screaming. She held my hand and didn't say anything stupid like, "It'll get better." Just stayed until I could breathe again. That was the beginning of the end of who I used to be. Cancer already strips you bare. Hair, energy, the illusion of control. Losing David stripped the rest. Friends disappeared, his side mostly, but a few of mine too. "It's awkward," they texted. Family meant well, but couldn't handle the double grief. Cancer and abandonment. My mom kept saying, "He wasn't the right one anyway." Like that erased 8 years of shared history. My little brother offered to beat him up. I laughed until I coughed blood. I moved back in with Mom for 3 months because rent was impossible and nausea made cooking feel like climbing Everest. She cooked bland food I could barely keep down and pretended not to hear me crying in the shower at 3 a.m. I hated being a burden again. 25 and back in my childhood bedroom, surrounded by high school trophies and posters I'd never taken down. Every mirror showed a stranger. Hollow cheeks, no eyebrows, skin like paper. I avoided them. Treatment dragged. Chemo every 3 weeks, radiation burns that made me sleep on my stomach like a kid afraid of monsters. The port scar itched constantly. I lost 30 pounds I didn't have to lose. But the worst wasn't the physical pain. It was the silence where David used to be. No one to hold my hair back. No one to bring me ginger ale. No one to say, "You're still beautiful," even when I knew it was a lie. I started journaling because the rage had nowhere else to go. Pages and pages of venom. He took the savings we built together while I was throwing up my guts. He told me I was too sick to love, like love has an expiration date. I hate him so much I can taste it. Writing didn't fix anything, but it kept me from screaming at walls. Remission came slow, 6 months after the last radiation burn faded. Scans clear. Oncologists called it no evidence of disease. I cried in the parking lot, ugly sobs, because survival felt like betrayal when the person I'd fought to live for had already left. I moved out of Mom's the next week. Found a basement studio. Damp, cheap, perfect for someone who still woke up tasting metal from nausea flashbacks. Got a part-time job doing freelance graphic design again. Clients didn't care about my wig or my scars. They cared about deadlines. I worked through fatigue, through neuropathy that made my hands feel like they were full of bees. Every completed project felt like flipping David off from across the country. Then the idea came. I'd always loved design, but cancer taught me something brutal. Time is finite, beauty is fragile, and most people waste both chasing things that don't matter. I started a side project, simple at first. A digital journal app for people going through serious illness. Not some cutesy gratitude tracker. Real. Raw. Prompts like, what did the doctor say today that scared you? Who didn't show up when you needed them? What small thing kept you alive today? Users could lock entries with biometrics, export them for therapy, share anonymously in moderated forums if they wanted. I called it Anchor. Built it myself. Late nights, painkillers, determination. Used every design skill I had to make it beautiful without being patronizing. Soft colors, easy navigation, dark mode for hospital rooms. Launched on app stores with zero marketing. Just shared in cancer Facebook groups, Reddit threads, survivor forums. It spread like wildfire. People needed it. Desperately. Messages poured in. This is the first place I felt seen since diagnosis. I wrote about my husband leaving and didn't feel crazy. Donations started, voluntary subscriptions, one-time tips. Enough to quit the day job. Enough to hire a developer, then a moderator, then a therapist consultant to make sure the prompts didn't accidentally harm. By 28, Anchor had 2 million downloads. Revenue hit 7 figures, mostly subscriptions, partnerships with cancer nonprofits. We added features. Voice journaling for people too weak to type, integration with fitness trackers for energy tracking, crisis hotlines one tap away. I spoke at oncology conferences, TEDx-style stages, patient summits. Always honest. I built this because no one held my hand when I needed it most. I won't let that happen to anyone else. Success didn't heal the wound. It cauterized it. David tried to resurface once. Email from a new address after a viral interview. So proud of you. Can we talk? I've changed. I blocked him. Didn't even save the message. His sister reached out too, awkward Facebook DM. He's struggling. Thinks he made a mistake. I replied once. He didn't make a mistake. He made a choice. Live with it. Therapy helped most. Weekly sessions where I finally said out loud, I'm angry he left, but I'm angrier he made me doubt my worth. My therapist, a cancer survivor herself, nodded. Anger is just love with nowhere to go. Let it go where it belongs, toward building, not breaking. I built. Anchor became a movement. We funded patient grants, therapy scholarships, wig banks. Hired survivors first. Paid well. Gave real equity. The team felt like family. Not the forced kind, the chosen kind. At 30, I bought a small house with a garden I actually tend. Adopted 2 rescue cats who sleep on my scars like they're protecting them. Dated when I felt ready. Slow, honest, no rush. Found someone who stays through the bad scans, the port flushes, the nights I still wake up tasting chemo. Cancer didn't define me. Neither did David's leaving. What defined me was refusing to stay broken. I still get angry sometimes. See a happy couple on the street and feel the old stab. But mostly, I feel grateful. Grateful for the pain that forced me to build something meaningful. Grateful for the users who say, your app saved my sanity. Grateful for the quiet mornings where I wake up, check my port scar, and think, still here. Still fighting. Still winning. David took everything he could carry. I built more than he could ever steal. And that, I think, is the best revenge. Living so fully that the person who left you becomes a footnote in a much bigger story. One they'll never get to read, because they chose not to stay for the good parts. The morning after my last radiation treatment, I stood naked in front of the full-length mirror in my mother's guest bathroom and didn't recognize the person staring back. No hair, sunken eyes, skin the color of old paper, scars crisscrossing where they'd cut, then burned, then cut again. 26 years old, and my body looked like it belonged to someone who'd already lost the war. I should have cried. Instead I laughed, short, ugly, the kind of laugh that hurts your ribs. Because David had left me for being too sick. And here I was still alive, still breathing, still furious. Alive enough to be angry. Angry enough to decide I wasn't going to stay this version of myself. Recovery wasn't graceful. It was brutal. My oncologist warned me. The body remembers trauma longer than the mind wants to. Chemo brain fog made sentences evaporate mid-thought. Neuropathy turned my feet into pins and needles. Fatigue hit like a truck. I'd sleep 14 hours and wake up exhausted. But the worst was the mirror. Every glance reminded me. This is what he ran from. I started small because small was all I could manage. Walks around the block with Mom. 10 minutes at first, then 15. Legs shaking, lungs burning. But I kept going. One day I made it 2 blocks without stopping. Celebrated with a protein shake that tasted like chalk. Next week, 3 blocks. Then the park loop. I bought cheap resistance bands from Amazon and did 10-minute YouTube workouts in the living room while Mom pretended not to watch. Fitness wasn't about looking good at first. It was about feeling like I still owned my body. Every squat, every push-up, every time I didn't quit when my muscles screamed was me telling cancer and David, you don't get to decide how strong I am. I found a trainer at the local Y who specialized in cancer survivors. Her name was Priya. Short, fierce, breast cancer thriver herself. First session she didn't pity me. Just said, we're rebuilding. Not from scratch, from the ashes. And ashes make damn good fertilizer. She taught me to lift again. Deadlifts with an empty bar. Squats to a bench so my knees didn't scream. Pull-ups assisted until I could do one unassisted. Nutrition coaching too. High protein, anti-inflammatory foods, no crash diets. Your body's been through war, she said. Feed it like you're preparing for the next one. 6 months in, I looked different. Not Instagram perfect. Still scars, still some softness where muscle used to be, but stronger. Shoulders broader. Legs steadier. Energy returning like a tide I thought had gone out forever. Priya suggested certification. You get it, Lena. Most trainers don't. Survivors need someone who's been in the trenches. I laughed, me a coach? But the idea stuck. I enrolled in an online program, NASM CPT, specializing in corrective exercise and cancer rehab. Studied between freelance design gigs, flashcards taped to the fridge, anatomy videos at 2 a.m. when insomnia hit. Passed the exam on the first try. Cried in my car afterward. Not because I was proud, though I was, but because I'd done something David had never seen coming. Something he couldn't take. Started small. One-on-one sessions with other survivors. Found clients through support groups, hospital referrals, Instagram posts that were brutally honest. Cancer survivor turned trainer. No before and after bikini pics. Just real strength for real bodies. Word spread. Waitlist grew. Then the pivot happened. I hated the fitness industry's bullshit. Shiny influencers selling 6-week transformations, detox teas, shame disguised as motivation. Survivors didn't need that. We needed sustainable. Gentle when needed. Fierce when possible. Permission to rest. So I built something different. Started a YouTube channel first, raw, unfiltered. Training After Cancer series. Me in leggings and a headscarf, still no hair. Demonstrating modified deadlifts, talking openly about fatigue crashes, neuropathy hacks, how to lift when your port still aches. No music overlays, no perfect lighting. Just me, a garage gym, and truth. It blew up quietly at first. Then a survivor TikToker stitched one of my videos. This is what real post-cancer fitness looks like. Views exploded. Subscribers poured in. Comments like, "First time I didn't feel broken watching a workout video. You said it's okay to modify, and I actually believed it." Monetized carefully. No sketchy sponsors, no miracle supplements. Built an app next, Anchor Fitness. Not just workouts, custom plans based on treatment history, energy tracking, community forums moderated by survivors. Integrated with wearables for real fatigue data. Voice commands for bad days. Gentle flow mode when chemo brain made reading impossible. Launched with 0 ads. Just shared in the same groups that had loved Anchor Journal. Went viral in survivor circles. Downloads hit 6 figures in months. Revenue from premium subscriptions, group coaching, corporate wellness partnerships with oncology centers. By 30, I had an empire. Not flashy, ethical. Team of survivor trainers. Sliding scale pricing. Free resources for low-income patients. Annual retreats where we lifted together, cried together, laughed until we couldn't breathe. I spoke at medical conferences now. Exercise as oncology support. Published a book, Stronger Than Before, Training Through and After Cancer. Hit bestseller lists in health categories. Not because it was polished, because it was honest. David tried crawling back once. Saw an article about my TEDx talk. Email from a burner account. "I always knew you were strong. Can we talk? I've grown too." I forwarded it to my lawyer with one line. Add to the file. No reply. No need. The scars are still there, physical, emotional. Some days fatigue hits like a freight train. Neuropathy flares. I still wake up tasting chemo. But now I have tools. A body I rebuilt myself. A community that shows up. A business that gives more than it takes. I don't forgive David. Forgiveness isn't owed to someone who left when staying was hard. What I have instead is indifference. He's a chapter 1 closed. I'm writing volumes now. To anyone in treatment, feeling invisible, abandoned, broken. Your body is still yours. Claim it. Move it however you can. 5 minutes, 5 reps, 5 breaths. Strength isn't the absence of pain. It's moving through it. Cancer took pieces of me. David took more. But what they left behind, that's where the empire grew. And damn, it feels good to rule my own kingdom. The email arrived on a Tuesday morning while I was still in bed, scrolling through comments on my latest YouTube video. 10 things I wish I'd known before chemo round 1. The subject line was simple. We need to talk. David. I hadn't heard from him in 4 years. Not since the divorce finalized and he'd taken the last of our savings to start fresh. in Colorado with some new girlfriend who posted yoga selfies and called herself a light worker. I'd blocked every number, every email, every social account. Somehow he'd found a way through. I opened it anyway. Curiosity is a cruel thing. Lena, I've watched your journey. The app, the book, the TED Talk. You're incredible. I was wrong. So wrong. I was scared, immature, selfish. I see that now. I want to make it right. Our kids deserve both parents. I deserve a chance to show you I've changed. Our kids. The words hit like a slap. We didn't have kids. We talked about it, dreamed about it, before the diagnosis. After the diagnosis, the conversation stopped. He left before we ever got the chance. But he'd married again within a year of our divorce. His new wife had 2 little girls from her previous marriage. Apparently, in David's rewritten history, they were our kids now. Or maybe he thought throwing children into the message would soften me, manipulate me, guilt me. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. Then I forwarded it to my lawyer with one line. He's back. The begging escalated fast. Next came the calls, from blocked numbers, from his sister's phone, from a new number every few days. Voicemails that started soft and pleading. Lena, please. I've been in therapy. I understand what I did. The girls ask about you. They've seen your videos. They think you're a superhero. Then the guilt. They need stability. A mother figure. You're famous now. Imagine the life you could give them. Then the veiled threats. I could make things public. Tell my side. People might not see you as the saint you pretend to be. Public. Meaning. The cancer vlogger who built an empire from pain. The one sponsors lined up for. The one whose story inspired millions. He'd paint me as bitter, unforgiving, selfish. Turn my survival into a cautionary tale about women who let success go to their head. I didn't respond. Not once. But he kept pushing. Flowers arrived at my office. Huge, expensive bouquets with cards that read "Thinking of you" in his handwriting. My assistant threw them out. Then came the social media comments. Anonymous accounts at first, then bolder. You talk about healing but won't forgive your ex. Those poor girls need their dad happy. Bots, probably. Or friends he'd convinced. The comments got nastier. She's using cancer for clout. Cold-hearted bitch. My community, survivors, thrivers, the people who'd built Anchor with me, fought back harder than I did. They reported, blocked, drowned the noise in support. But it hurt. Every barb reminded me of the nights I'd cried alone in hospital beds, wondering why I wasn't enough to stay for. The final escalation. He filed for visitation rights. Not custody, thank God, but grandparent-like access to the children he considers family. Claimed I'd alienated him from potential stepchildren by refusing contact. Attached screenshots of my videos where I'd mentioned people who leave when it gets hard. Said it created a hostile environment. I lawyered up fast. My attorney, Maya, a family law pit bull who'd survived her own abusive marriage, looked at the filing and laughed. This is delusional. He has no legal standing. No biological relation. No prior relationship with these children. This is harassment with extra steps. We countersued for harassment, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Discovery was brutal. We pulled his financials. Turns out the fresh start wasn't so fresh. New wife's ex was fighting for more child support. David's freelance consulting gig had dried up. Medical bills from a mysterious back injury. Workers' comp denied. They were drowning. He needed money. Needed relevance. Needed me to be the villain so he could play victim. Court was a circus. He showed up in a suit 2 sizes too big, eyes red like he'd been crying. His lawyer tried to spin it. Mr. Thompson deeply regrets his actions during Ms. Ramirez's illness. He seeks only to make amends and provide stability for the children he loves as his own. Maya destroyed them. Exhibit A. Bank records showing he'd drained our accounts while I was in chemo. Exhibit B. Texts where he'd told me I was too much to love. Exhibit C. Emails begging for reconciliation only after my TED Talk hit 10 million views. Exhibit D. The custody filing itself, laughable on its face. The judge didn't even let it go to full trial. Dismissed with prejudice. Issued a restraining order. No contact, direct or indirect. No third parties. Violation meant jail time. David cried in the hallway afterward. Tried to approach me. Bailiff stopped him. I didn't look back. Silence followed. Beautiful, hard-earned silence. The restraining order gave me breathing room to finally exhale. I doubled down on therapy, trauma-focused, not just coping. Dug into the abandonment wound, the fear that I was unlovable when sick, the rage at being used as a prop for his redemption arc. My therapist said something that stuck. He didn't leave because you were sick. He left because he was weak. Your strength exposed it. I started dating again, slowly, carefully. Met Alex at a survivor retreat I'd keynote. He was there supporting his sister, a lymphoma fighter. Tall, quiet, patient. Didn't flinch at my scars. Didn't rush. Asked about my work like it mattered, not like it was a novelty. Our first date was coffee. Second was a walk in the park. Third was him bringing me soup when I crashed after a long filming day. He stayed through the bad scans, the port flushes, the nights I woke up tasting chemo ghosts. Held my hand during blood draws. Laughed when I made dark jokes about my sexy bald era. Never once made me feel like a burden. We got married last year. Small ceremony, beach at sunrise, only people who'd earned their seat. My mom cried. My brother gave me away. Priya officiated. Anchor team through the reception. No David. No drama. Just joy I'd earned. The business kept growing. Anchor Fitness hit 8 figures. Expanded into mental health integration, therapy matching, support circles, crisis resources. Hired more survivors. Paid them what they deserved. Gave equity. Built something that mattered. David. Last I heard through a mutual friend. Marriage crumbling. Money gone. Posting vague growth journey content on Instagram. I don't check anymore. Don't need to. He begged for reconciliation because my fame made me useful again. Manipulated with kids who weren't even his because guilt is a powerful lever. Lost in court because truth has receipts. I didn't need to win against him. I needed to win for me. And I did. I didn't need to win against him. I needed to win for me. And I did. Every day I wake up next to someone who stays. Every day I help someone else stand up. Every day I look at my scars and think, these are proof I survived the worst people could do to me. And I'm still here. Still strong. Still loved. Not despite the pain. Because of what I built from it.